Awesome. Huge welcome, everybody, to our Hour of Power. I'm really excited about our special guest this morning, Mr. Dany Martin. And some of you may or may not know who Dany is, and he's an awesome, awesome part of our Juice Plus Australia and New Zealand family. And so I want to actually just read a little bit about Dany. Dany is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and you will hear his accent, so you'll know now where he's actually from if you're trying to do a guess there. He's actually in his 27th year with the Juice Plus company, so he is a huge testament to longevity in this business. He's a national marketing director along with his wife, Debbie, who's an absolutely beautiful lady, and she is also a national marketing director as well. And they are charter members of the prestigious 100 Club. So they've been 100 clubs for, in fact, a lot more than that, for a long time now. So these guys have walked the walk, and they, they really, really know what this business is about. A couple of other things you might not know about Dany and Debbie. In 1999, at the very first 39 Club get-together, they received the Go-Getter Award. Only one of two awards given out of that event, and that event is now known as the Elton's Award. So it's a little bit like our Academy Awards for Juice Plus. So it's a huge award to actually receive. They were nominated again for an Elton Award for their international support of the Juice Plus company. And Dany says one of his greatest honors was to be the closing speaker at the Juice Plus International Conference held in Memphis in October of 2014. For those of us who were absolutely blessed to be able to see that, it was an amazing, amazing closing. And all I can say is Elvis was in the house. So it was truly amazing. Dany is one of the most amazing guys when it comes to wanting to share and raise people up. In fact, he was one of the lead people in actually starting Juice Plus Australia and New Zealand. So we're forever in his debt because he had the courage to step up and, come out here to actually start this business. It's over 17 years ago. So because of what he was prepared to do, because that's why we are where we are today. So we're absolutely super excited. And Dany has spent 17 years in the supermarket industry and management before he started his Juice Plus franchise. I'm going to get him to share his story as to why he did that. It's an awesome story. And some of his wisdom on what he's learned over these many years, these 27 years as part of the Juice Plus company. So thank you so much, Dany, for taking the time to come along, and also for taking the time every single year. You get on a plane, and sometimes twice a year, and come out here and support the Australia-New Zealand team, and we're very, very grateful for that. So over to you, my friend. I'm going to spotlight you. Hold you there. Look at this. I'm going to pin you and spotlight you. There you go.
All right. Good to be on with you guys. I hate talking to myself, though, but I love Zoom. I think it's the greatest thing ever. Thank you guys for joining us here and on the recording. This is quite an honor to do this evening, and I really hope we have some time throughout this call, or at least at the end, to maybe take some questions, because that's really what I love to do. My joy in the business is interacting with people, one-on-one, small groups, things like that. Obviously, I have spoken in front of large audiences and things like that. But primarily, the one-on-one type thing is really what I like to do and to try to focus on. So this evening, I'm gonna talk about several little things here, but I want to start off with what some people would call my journey. I always like to refer to it as a journey. Some people would say it's a story, but I think it's real important. There's a lot of lessons that can be learned within that. As Celine said, I started with the company back in late 1989, early 1990. So Debbie and I are in our 27th year with the company. And back then, I was a young man and growing up in Louisiana. Obviously, we're very unhealthy here. We're not very health conscious in our part of the United States here. So, I did all the wrong things. So Juice Plus product made sense to me early on. But I grew up in a very, what I would call a lower middle income type family. And so we were always just taught to work really hard and go to school, get through school and get out and get a job. Now, you didn't go to higher education or university or college unless you had to. So when I was coming up, that's primarily what I was kind of taught. So when I graduated from high school, I wanted to be a welder and work in the chemical plant industry. There's a lot of the refineries and all that are located here in our area because of the oil and gas business that's here. And I wanted to be a welder and get into that particular field because that's where most of my family worked. They worked in that type of field in the chemical plant industry. But the year I graduated high school, a couple of things happened. My dad was forced to retire from his job because he had quadruple bypass surgery at 57 years of age because of a major heart attack. At least he survived it. That was a good thing. But it put a real burden on our family. And I never had the opportunity to go to higher education or to college or university. And so I was working in the grocery industry as a part-time student in high school, 16, 17 years old. I was working in that industry, and they offered me a full-time position, and I took it, mainly to make income. I mean, my dad, the last year he worked was the best year he worked, and I think he made somewhere around $8,000 or $10,000 that year. So we didn't make a lot of money or have a lot of money in our family, although we had a good normal family. So I went to work with them. By the time I was 21 years of age, I had been promoted up to a location manager. Many of you that would go into a Kohl's or a Woolworths or something like that in Australia, one of the major supermarkets. I was over one of those types of operations, and at 21 years of age, I made $27,000 that year. And you have to understand where I came from. I like to joke and say I was the most successful person I'd ever met. I never met anybody that made that kind of money before. Surely no one in my family did. So I continued to work my way up, but at 21, 22 years of age, I got married. We were married a few years and then had a son, Dany Jr. And, you know, sometimes in your life, something major has to happen for you to make major changes. And that came to me in the form of a divorce. I was in my early to mid-20s, married. I have a 1-year-old son, and I go through a divorce that was totally unexpected to me. And so I had to step back and think, you know, I'm a good dad, I'm a good father, I'm a good husband, I'm a good provider, but I was really married to my career. And so it's like that person that gets diagnosed with cancer and then they quit smoking. Well, the divorce for me made me step back and take a look at being married to my career and climbing that corporate ladder. And I said, you know, I don't want to be a dad that sends a check. I want to watch this little boy grow up. I want to be a part of his life. And so I started going on a search to see if there was something else I could do, because understand, in the retail grocery industry at that time, I worked a lot of hours. When I say a lot of hours, I was off every other Sunday. I worked 14 days and a day off. So some of those weeks, if I had a light week, it may have been 60 hours. The average in full weeks would be anywhere from 80 to 100 hours. And you think you can't work that many, but you can. We did. We'd work from early in the morning to late at night. It was just what I was always taught to do, to try to get ahead. Well, after searching about 4 or 5 years and interviewing with a lot of companies, I realized I was not going to be able to replace my income with my skills and experience. And I was a referral to someone that knew my older sister called me one day and said he had talked to a friend of hers, not even her, but a friend of hers, and understood that I was looking for something else to do. And he asked if he could come meet with me. And I said, yes, we'd have to do it on a Sunday because that's when I'm off. And he did. He drove actually about an hour, hour and a half to meet with me. Him and his wife did. And Debbie was there. Now, Debbie came into the picture about that time because in April of 1989, we got married. I remarried. I brought a 5-year-old son into that marriage. So we'd only been married about 6 months at the time when all this was transpiring. We sat down and listened to a couple named Carrie and Mickey Daigle, who ultimately became our sponsors in this business. And they just showed us the Juice Plus company and the products and the marketing plan. Now, things were different back then. You got to think 25, 26 years ago, a lot of things were different. We didn't have this. We didn't have the internet and things like that. But we believed in the product. We believed in the company. And I thought if I could just make $1,000 or $1,500 a month, that would be enough to offset what I was being offered to take a pay cut. I could do this business on the side, take that pay cut with a lesser paying job, and watch my little boy grow up. Well, little did I know about residual income, passive income. See, I'd always been taught about the linear income. In other words, trading time for money. And although I had done well, I had no time. I had money. I know people that have a lot of time, but they have no money. It's difficult to have both. And if you don't believe that, talk to some heads of companies, some CEOs out there, and find out which they would rather have. If they could give up some of their money for more time, most will take it. So I figured out with this company, not long after being involved with them, that if I worked hard, talked to a lot of people, built a business with this, I could probably leave what I was doing and go full-time and make this a career. Well, that's what happened. Now, to be quite honest, I probably went full-time a little too quick. About 10 or 12 months into my Juice Plus career, I went full-time. I left my full-time job after 17 years. I was able to do that because Debbie was working full-time outside the home as well. Well, it wasn't long. I was able to I did try to replace my full-time income, and eventually I did, but I didn't right away. And I'm telling you guys this to tell you, it wasn't quick, fast, or big for us. It was slow and steady. And after being able to replace my income, I realized Debbie, being in a male-dominated industry in sales, that she was in some bad situations. She was being harassed and other things. And so then our goal became replacing her income as well, so that both of us could work together, work from home. Now, we were able to do that over time. It wasn't always easy. In fact, I can remember the times when we didn't have money, and it was tough in the beginning, but it kept us grounded. And it's always reminding us of where we have come from. For our first position in NMD, it was probably 4 to 5 years. The second one came a little better. Maybe we had some experience, but the second one came probably 2 years or 3 years later in building it. So we weren't quick, we weren't fast, it wasn't big. But today the rewards were there. So my message to you guys in listening to this is, it's not a race. It's not a race. It's more of a marathon than it is a sprint. And if you have success early on and quick and fast, that's great. But if you don't, stick it out, because the bumps in the road, the roadblocks that come up, the challenges that you have, they will be worth it if you wait, because this has been life-changing for us. I'll fast forward. When I was in my early 40s, Debbie and I had been married about 10 or 12 years at the time, and we decided to have a child, and we had a son. His name is Devin. Devin's now 15. But when we decided to have Devin as older parents, we wanted our goal to be for both of us to be able to stay home with him and not have to work outside the home and work from home and work around our schedule. And we were able to do that. That's been 15 years ago now. So guys, understand, it doesn't matter about your background. It doesn't matter about your skills. It doesn't matter about who you know. I think what really matters in our business is, why are you doing it? See, for me, most people would say, well, Dany, you were, trying to make $1,000 or $1,500 a month. That was your why. That was your reason. No, that wasn't my reason. And if you have monetary amount attached to your reason for doing this business, that's not your why either. Your why is what that will allow you to do or not do. And for me, that $1,000 or $1,500 a month was going to allow me to spend time with my son and be a part of his life. So keep that in mind, because every time that I would go out and I would talk to somebody and they weren't interested in our company, they weren't interested in my product, they weren't interested in my opportunity or business, I wouldn't beat myself up. I wouldn't get myself down. I wouldn't think about quitting. Sure, it hurt. None of us like rejection. But I would turn around, and this is what I would say to myself. I'm not going to give that person power over me spending time with my son. And I tell you what, guys, if you have that type of reason for being involved in our business, you're unstoppable. No one will be able to steal your dream. And that's what we did. And we just kept pursuing that and pursuing that. Fast forward today, as I said, it's been life-changing. I watched that little boy grow up. I'm now involved in watching our son Devin grow up and being a part of his life and taking him to school basically every day and picking him up. Now that won't last too much longer because he's about to get a permit for driving, and I see him next year he's going to be hitting me up for wheels, you know, on a car and all that. That's cool. I understand. But, you know, right now that's a valuable part of what we do. He plays golf competitively. He played for school. Now he's on a junior tour here playing golf. I'm able to caddy for him. I'm able to take off during the day, during the week, and go caddy 18 holes for him and be with him doing that. So this can be life-changing for you, whatever your goal may be. It may be that you're in a bad situation or a bad relationship, and it can maybe do that for you. Maybe it's something that you want, like we had. Maybe it's a charity you want to donate to. Maybe it's giving back to others. There's so many things that our company and our product line will do for so many people. So I encourage you, never quit. Stick it out. Stay with it. No one's ever not made it that didn't quit in our business. So you just have to hang around. There will be challenges along the way. I get asked a lot about international business and how Australia came about. I want to touch on that for just a little bit because, you know, a lot of people try to tag me with well, Dany's the guy that brought Juice Plus to Australia. Well, there was more to it than that, and there was more people involved in that, obviously, although we were very involved in the early days. But the way that basically happened, and again, this is a message for people that want to expand internationally. The first advice I give you is go across the street before you go down the street. You know, it's easier to talk to people and sponsor people and work with people in your hometown or close to you than it is on the other side of the world. But it can be done. I mean, Debbie and I have business in over 20 countries now. Besides Australia, the Netherlands and United Kingdom is a big market for us as well. And of course, the United States, and the United States is the size of Australia, not counting Canada and Mexico, but you know, it's a big place as well. But here's how this really happened. A friend of mine who's not even in our business gave me a referral of a guy, and the guy was from Australia. He happened to live here in my hometown 6 months out of the year. And I talked to him off and on for probably a year and a half. A year and a half. I found out he was diabetic, and really all I wanted to do was I knew the product would probably help him. I wasn't making any claims, didn't have any research to back that, but I had enough people that I knew that I felt like this would just be something that could help him from a you know, physical standpoint. And after a year and a half of that, I finally told him one day, I said, listen, I want you to come to a luncheon meeting that we're doing. And after that, I'll buy you lunch. You know, usually if you can buy somebody food or something, they might come along. I said, I want to buy you lunch, and I will never speak to you ever again about this. And he came to lunch. What I didn't tell him was I was the speaker that day. I had researched him. I'd researched everything that I could, and that presentation was directed at him. He got on Juice Plus and became a customer. Well, a long story short, I found out that the company had someone lined up to open Australia, but it fell through. The guy ended up that was going to open the office like Peter and Louise and Celine and Mick and these guys work out of there. It just fell through. He wasn't who they said he was or who he said he was. And so the company had kind of scratched Australia off the map and put a big X on it and said, you know, maybe another day or sometime. And through this one person that I had as a customer, again, neither one of these people are in our business. Through them, I met some other people in Australia and was able to really bring them to the table or help bring them to the table, to the Memphis office. They flew in and we met there. First time I'd ever met them. We didn't have this technology, or I probably would have met them through Zoom. And we began to build the marketing plan, get things in motion, open an office there in Newcastle. That's just where these two guys were from at the time. Because people ask all the time, why are we based there? Why are we not in Perth or Sydney or Canberra or somewhere else, you know? But it was just where they live. It's just where, you know, we opened the business there. And that was in 1998. We got some great people involved. We've been very blessed. I know the first year I went about 4 times and stayed a month or so each time I went. So I actually thought maybe I need to become a citizen here because I'm spending as much time in Australia as I am at home. And that was another reason Debbie and I put off having a baby, because about the time all this was happening was when we decided we thought we would have a child. So we kind of put that on hold because of Australia. So you guys are very dear to us. You've been a big part of our life in having a child and traveling and all of those other things. Now, fast forward, I've made, 35, 40 plus trips to Australia to date. What's interesting about that is before I got in this business with this company, with the Juice Plus company, I'd only been on one airplane one time, and it was to fly on my honeymoon during my first marriage. Think about that. This business has taken us around the world. We were able to spend some time in Europe last year, and we've been to Canada several times, and just different things like that. So again, this is life-changing. I want to give you guys a few tips here, and kind of get into the meat of the training here tonight. But I think the first tip that I would give you is have a strong reason for doing this. Have a strong why. People say if your why don't make you cry, it's not strong enough. Well, I tell you what, mine's made me cry a lot because I love my family, I love my boys, and I get emotional talking about them because of what this has afforded me. Not that I'm upset about it, but tears of joy of what it's afforded me. So have a really strong reason, not a monetary reason, but what will that money afford you to do or not do? That's real important. The next thing that I'm real big on that is engage in conversations with people, not presentations. You see, this is a relationship business. This is a relationship building business. We're asking people to put something in their body. We're not selling tables and chairs or perfume or things. We're talking about something I'm asking you, your spouse, and your children to put into your body. So we have to develop a relationship with people, and that's really the business we're in. We're not in the business of marketing Juice Plus products. We're in the business of building relationships with others. And I find if you do that through conversation, not presentation, it's a lot simpler and a lot easier. How do you engage in conversation with people? Well, for me, I just ask questions. Engage in a conversation. Find out about someone. My best opening line, I call it my pickup line, and I don't mean it really the way that you guys may think that I mean that, the way that somebody would mean a pickup line, but this is what I mean. I pick up prospects all the time using this one line, and here it is. You don't even have to write it down. You know why? Because it's that simple. Are you from here? That's it. Are you from here? You want to start a conversation with someone anywhere, all you have to do is say, are you from here? They're going to say yes or no. If they say yes, say, how long have you been living in Newcastle? Or where did you go to school, or what do you do here? Most people you'll find, they'll say, well, I'm really not from here. I live here now, but I'm from somewhere else. Well, what brought you here? Oh, college or university or spouse's job or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And you get into conversation with people like that. So I can't encourage you guys enough. It's what we get paid for. What we really get paid for is not marketing Juice Plus. We get paid for engaging in conversations with people. Notice I didn't say we get paid for doing presentations with people. I don't walk up to somebody and say, how many fruits and vegetables did you eat? Do you take vitamin pills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even get into that. What I do is I engage in a conversation. I promise you, children, health, finances, wealth, something's going to come up. My antennas are going to go up because I'm listening to them. I'm asking questions and listening. And when my antennas go up, then I can maybe ask them to look at information or talk a little bit about what I may be doing. So that's a real key point in what we do today. The next thing on my little cheat list here that I want to share with you this evening is, if you can only have one goal in our business, and I know there's many, and I know they're important, I know you should have them, and I do too. I mean, I can remember a real, personal goal for me when I started was I took a picture of a big, long Mercedes-Benz, and I put it on my refrigerator. And I said, I'm not taking it down till I buy that car. Well, eventually I was able to buy that car. Now that's materialistic and all of that. But there's other goals that you can have. There's goals about making certain positions, and there's income goals and all of these things. Let me give you one basic goal to break down your business that I think is the most important goal you can have. Figure out and have a goal of how many people you're going to engage in a conversation with every day or every week about Juice Plus. When I say Juice Plus, I mean either the products, the company, the business. It doesn't matter. See, I look at Juice Plus. When people say, Dany, what's Juice Plus? I don't say it's fruits and vegetables and berries in a capsule. They say, what's Juice Plus? I say, Juice Plus is a company. It's a company that inspires healthy living around the world. And we may have these products. See, I look at Juice Plus as a building. It's a big building. And there's several doors. There's the berry door. There's a fruit and vegetable door. There's a complete door. We have all these different doors. And it doesn't matter to me which door I get someone to come through as long as I get them in the building. And then once I get them in the building, I can educate them because I'm engaging with them. I'm developing a relationship with them. And once I get them in the door, then I can expose them to some other things. Now, obviously, I think everyone breathing should be on red, green, purple, and complete. I mean, everyone. I know what that does for us. I know what the research does. But not everyone's going to be there just yet coming out of the gate. So respect people and meet them where they are. Meet them where they are as far as a prospect, as far as a customer, as far as becoming a franchisee in your business. So have that goal. How many people am I going to talk to each day or each week about this business, this product, this company, or whatever it is that conversation brings up? See, when I started, my goal was 2 people a day, 5 days a week. Here's the cool thing about that goal. You don't have to do it forever. It's temporary. You only have to do it for a short period of time. And so mine was 5 days a week, 2 a day. That's 10 a week. That's 40 a month. Now, back then, that was a lot because you know how we had to contact people 27 years ago? 2 ways. Either talk to them on a landline or meet them in person. There was no mobile devices. There was no internet or thing. And I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easier today. I can tell you it's a lot simpler, but sometimes we complicate it. So if I had to start over today, 2 a day, really? Come on. I mean, I could probably do 2 in 15 minutes now with technology that we have. So I say rev it up, amp it up, get aggressive. Why not? You're only going to have to do it for a short period of time. So you don't have to do that the rest of your career with Juice Plus. You only have to do it for a period of time because what's going to happen is your customer base is going to grow, your team's going to grow, and you're going to have to start spending time doing other things, and you will still prospect. I mean, my wife and I just signed a new distributor up 2 weeks ago. We just sponsored a young man that we're working with. We're always prospecting. We're always putting on customers. Why? We love doing it. I feel like it's an obligation, not an opportunity. It's an obligation. You know what I know about Juice Plus, the Juice Plus business, the Juice Plus company. I feel obligated to share that with others. It's not an opportunity for me. It's an obligation. So have that goal. And hold yourself accountable. The other thing that you have is to become entrepreneurial minded in our business. In other words, this is your business, guys. Treat it like a business. I see things on Facebook all the time. We have Facebook pages in Australia, New Zealand that I'm part of. I'm part of the U.S. and other ones around the world. And so many times I see things on there. Well, what about this? Or question about that? And so forth and so on. I'm thinking, oh, that's on the virtual office. That's on your website. And so treat this as a business seriously. Employ yourself. Become entrepreneurial minded. You're the CEO of your franchise. You're the head person. You're the founder and CEO of your Juice Plus franchise. Be that person. Step up and take charge of that. Teach, train, lead others. You want to know if you're a good leader. Here's how you can tell if you're a good leader. How many people are following you? That's the real gauge. That's the real measuring stick there. So you want to be entrepreneurial minded. You want to be creative. You don't want to be employee minded. Nothing wrong with employees, but employee minded people look to other people for instruction and what to do, and they usually wait to be told what to do. An entrepreneurial minded person is going to find what needs to be done, and they're going to lead the way and lead the charge in doing it. So take ownership of your business and become entrepreneurial minded in doing that. The other thing is keeping it simple. See, if you don't keep it simple, it won't duplicate, or it'll be more difficult to duplicate. And that's what our business is all about. It's duplication. You know, I often say, Debbie and I have maybe 40, 50 personal customers on Juice Plus, people that we've actually put on Juice Plus ourselves. But we have 40 or 50,000 customers in our team worldwide. We could never do that. We could never get to that many people. It's impossible to do that. So you have to have duplication in the business. First and foremost, you become the best franchisee on your team. That's the way you lead. You become the best person in your organization. You lead that way, and you keep it simple. And if you keep it simple, a grocery guy can do it, and a PhD doctor can do it, and everybody in between. So you have to keep it simple, or else it won't duplicate. So keeping it simple is also working smart. When you work smart and keep it simple, what happens is people think they can do it. If I sat down with everyone 2 or 3 hours and explained Juice Plus to them, they may get on the product, and I may be that good, but you know what? You know what I would hear if I asked them to join me in the business? I don't have time. I don't have time, Dany. You know what they're telling me? I don't have time to do to other people what you did to me. So keep it simple so it will duplicate. It's very easy to do that. Next thing I had real quick is you need to create a community or a culture within what you're doing. See, people are more interested today in an experience than they are an experiment. In other words, they don't really want to know about, they don't want you to cite and recite all the studies on Juice Plus. Sure, they're there. Sure, they're important and they're good. Let them go click away and find out and research that. They don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And so don't overwhelm people with information. You know, make them feel a part of something. People want an experience, not an education. They want an experience. You know, there's a place here in the U.S., it's a coffee place called Starbucks. They don't have the best coffee, and they sure don't have the cheapest prices, but they sure sell more coffee than anybody. And you know what it is? When you walk into their place, the average person spends almost $5 when they walk in a Starbucks coffee shop. It's an experience. It makes you feel good by walking in there. So Juice Plus is an experience for people. You get them on the product. You develop that relationship with that customer. Make sure they're getting benefits on it. Care more about the benefits they get from the product than the money you're going to make marketing it. And develop the relationship with them and create that culture and that community within your team. You guys in Australia have done that, I think, better than anyone. And I'm being very honest about that. We've got some people here in the U.S. that do a great job and are learning, but creating a culture and a community. In other words, people want to be a part of something, and they don't want to be a part of a bunch of negative people. They don't want to be a part of a bunch of technical people. They want to be a part of people that are energetic, that are positive, that are having fun, something that's different. And that's what we have, and that's what we offer. So create a good culture and a good community within your team. No matter how big your team is, your team could be 2 people right now. But start to create that now, because when it becomes 200, you'll have a community of people around you, and there's a lot of security in that. And again, have fun. That's kind of the last thing on my list there, was to really just have fun with this. I often heard over the years, if you lighten up, your sales will brighten up. One thing about me, I've been serious on this call tonight, but any of you guys that really know me and know me well, I like to joke, I like to cut up, I like to tease and have fun. It's part of it. It's what we do. It's enjoyable. You know, there's so many jobs and careers that people can go in through that you don't get the opportunity to do that. You don't get the opportunity to be upbeat and have fun and be around positive people. What you do with this particular company and this business. And so for me, the Juice Plus company, the Juice Plus products, the Juice Plus business, you know, it gets into you. Besides just taking the capsules and drinking the complete, it gets into you. And when it gets into you, you can get into it. And when you do, you can have a lot of success and you can have fun by doing it. So that was another tip I wanted to give you tonight. A couple other things, Celine, real quick, and I'll be happy to take some questions here or whatever we want to do. But I want to touch on a couple of things. I'm always big about building for events. Now, first of all, you guys have an amazing conference coming up. The lineup of speakers that you have, the topics, the trainers, it's going to be the largest Australian conference to date. But guess what? It's not going to be as big as probably next year and the next year. I mean, we're on this steady climb right now, and it's incredible what's going on in that market there. Of course, opening New Zealand. You know, we've always been able to kind of do business in New Zealand, but it's not been a place that we're really focused on. But some of you guys have really stepped up, and you're really starting to put the North and South Island on the map, I promise you. And things are going really well there as well. Now, you have to understand this, like it was in the early days for us. When we brought, you know, the product into Juice Plus and opened there, I remember the first night, our official open, I spoke at the entertainment center in Sydney, downtown. There was myself and a gentleman by the name of John Blair and Dr. John Wise. The three of us spoke that night, and that was the beginning of opening up Australia, officially opening the country of Australia. There's something in business called an S-curve. What it is, if you haven't seen it, but every product goes through three phases. An innovation stage, it goes through a maturity stage, but it also goes through in the middle between those two, a growth stage. And if you can picture that, you've got, you know, an S-curve. If you look at an S on a piece of paper, it looks like that. Down here in that innovation stage, it's very rocky. It's changing. I think of mobile phones. In the early days, they were big. They were bulky. The signal was weak. There wasn't many towers around. If you were standing under one, you could get a signal and your phone worked. But most of the time, that was the innovation stage. A lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. A lot of them went out of business during that time. Well, then it got into the growth stage. And the growth stage, and the reason I'm telling you this is twofold. One, the growth stage is where you really want to get involved with a product or in an industry. And then it goes into the maturity stage. See, everyone has a cell phone or mobile phone today, so it's in the maturity stage. That doesn't mean they still don't sell them. Most people have a refrigerator or a car, and people still sell those. But it's not the opportunity it was at the beginning of the growth stage. Right now with Juice Plus, it's at the beginning of that growth stage. We haven't even scratched the surface. 99% of the people in Australia, North America, and other places around the world, they don't know what Juice Plus is. They'll say, yeah, I've heard of it, but do they really know what it is? No. So it's our obligation, again, to go out and build that relationship and educate them on what we have. And that's what we do. So the opportunity right now is great. The other reason I mentioned the S-curve is when you go into a new market, you go through the innovation stage as well. And so some of the issues that we have experienced in Australia, we'll experience in New Zealand as a new market. So what I'm encouraging you guys to do is be very patient. Be very patient, because you're going to have roadblocks. You're going to have, you know, shipping problems maybe from time to time, or tax things, or this or that. We had all of that in the beginning days of Australia. We had all that in the beginning days of the USA. It's part of the innovation stage. It's like, you know, birthing a baby. You go through 9 months, and then when the labor pains hit, not only do they hit, they get more intense and closer together. And then finally you give birth. And then, you know, all of that's kind of behind you at that point. So to us, when we're starting or we're birthing or getting into a new market, or we're launching, you know, a new product, like when we brought the berry blend into Australia, for example, or something like that, these are things that you have to work through, guys. So don't get disappointed with it. It's part of the innovation of being involved in the bottom end of that S-curve, where we're just now coming out of that innovation stage and going into that growth stage. So you could not be positioned better right now. Take advantage of this conference. If you can't get to the conference, you don't have a ticket for it, I understand they're going to stream some of it and that kind of thing, participate in it. It will be a great experience for you. The next thing is on the agenda, I think the big issue is a National Marketing Director School, the NMD School. That's been done once a year there for about the last 4 or 5 years, and it's usually done in August. It's strategically placed between your conference and between the holiday season that comes up, and it's for those people in leadership to take them to that next level. And it's been very powerful. The graduation rate, what I mean by that is people that have gone on from that school to become national marketing directors in our business and real leaders in our business. The numbers are phenomenal. So your chances are increased greatly by getting there. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're looking at that or working towards that, it's great. It's a great honor. I mean, the company, the Juice Plus Company Australia, they fly you in and treat you like royalty for 3 or 4 days. And it's incredible. I mean, if I was just going just to experience it and got no training, they spoil you. What can I say? You want to be a part of that, and it's a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing you guys. I'm going to make it back this year for that school again. So, and then following up with that, around that, I'm going to hit a few cities while I'm there. I'll be probably hitting some, maybe Sydney, Perth, whatever. I actually will obviously be in Newcastle for the NMD school. But I'm also maybe looking at popping in and maybe hitting a city or two in the New Zealand market. Depends. I haven't got my travel schedule just yet, but I am working on that right now. So I look forward to seeing many of you and meeting you if I haven't. I know many of you over the years that we've worked together. We've got some people that we've been working with there for 17 years. They've been with us from day one. And I enjoy and appreciate and respect what they do, but I also love and enjoy and respect the new people that are coming in to our business, and that's really, our future with what we have, and our future looks really bright right now. So if I haven't met you, I look forward to hopefully maybe doing that on my trip over in August. I will not make the conference this year. I was there last year, but won't make it this year because of my trip in August. But I do look forward to working with each and every one of you guys and helping you in any way I can. So, Celine, that was just a few things I wanted to kind of throw at everybody and share tonight. I don't know if there's any questions, or maybe we get off here early and everyone can start their day or go to bed or whatever they need to do.
No worries at all.
An opportunity to share.
Well, what I would really encourage you to do, if you've got any questions, put them into the chat and we'll read them out here. I'll give you an opportunity. But I hope you took lots of notes. I've got my notes written down here. I never tire from listening to Dany. He's an amazing guy. I've had the opportunity to travel around Australia with him a number of times, doing events and that together, and he's just a workhorse. He's just truly amazing. But I hope that one of the things that you would take some time to do over the next week is really look at that why, having that strong why. Again, it's so important, but it is about something that really will help you to get out of your own way at times, when sometimes we can let other people's agendas rule what it is that we're doing. I loved also where he talked about, conversations, not presentations. This is a relationship business. We say it all the time, guys. We are in the people business. Really, that's what it is. We're about building relationships with people, and Juice Plus is the vehicle that we actually use then to create a business. And so, what are you doing? How many conversations can you look at this week? And that's, of course, where those personal goals come in place. You've got a grid that, the tool that we use on a regular basis really helps you with being able to track those personal conversations that you're having. Get your grid out and ramp it up, as Dany said. You've only got to do this for a short period of time to be able to have a life for the rest of your life like other people aren't going to have. I loved also too about, employing yourself. Be entrepreneurial. Okay, employ yourself. At what level are you going to employ yourself too? Don't kid yourself. A lot of our stuff is on the virtual office, and that actually, if somebody was coming to you and asking you the same question that you want to ask, what would you tell them? Where would you direct them to go? So look at the tools that you actually have and keep it simple. Most importantly, keeping it simple, because that does help to be duplicatable. Like Dany and Debbie have done. I mean, these guys have created a worldwide amazing business, and they've done it by being duplicatable out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and and that's the thing. So they've got a worldwide business, and of course that culture, creating that culture of fun and what that might look like. So let's have a little look here. I just want to see if there are any questions. I know there's some great comments here. Everybody thanking you. Love you, Dany. Always take something new from you. So much available. What do you decide what's important when useful starting out? Okay, so there's so much useful information for a Juice Plus person when they're starting as a new Juice Plus being a New Zealand franchise, how do you decide what's important and useful for starting out? Dany, what's the most important thing that you make sure that your new people have?
I say my support. If you're going to sponsor someone, then you need to be in front of them on person to person, Zoom, phone call, something. You need to be with them minimum of once a day during their first 60, 90, 120 days. To me, that's the most important thing of sponsoring someone. Because think about this, guys. If you go and you get a job somewhere in an office, let's say you've been working in an office doing clerical work for 10 years, and you go to another company and you're going to do the same exact thing. Even though you know what you're doing, that company is going to assign you or put you with someone your first week or two so you can learn how they do it. You can learn their system. And so for me, when you sponsor a new person, the first thing is they just need to have their support team. You, whoever your sponsor is, they need to have access to you guys because of a learning curve. See, in traditional business, if you work in traditional business or corporation, if you have to ask a lot of questions, then people say that you're incompetent. And they'll replace you for being incompetent. In our business, I like to say this: if you don't ask a lot of questions, you will be incompetent. So you want people to ask questions and so forth. We work really hard bringing someone into the business. So when we sponsor them, when we put them in the system, we need to really kind of live with them. Now, I'm going to give you guys a visual, and this will stick with you forever. You'll know, Celine probably knows what I'm going to say, but this is the way I look at it. When I sponsor someone every morning, when they get out of the shower, I'm standing there going, what can I do for you today? All right, I know that's a little bit crazy, but you'll remember that from now on. But that's what I mean. What can I do for you? And it's going to be a question about the product, about the company, about the marketing structure, about how to fast track, how to do the rocket, how to do this. They'll have those questions, but I'm there every day for them, accessible to them, and you only, again, have to do that a short period of time. And so to me, that's number one. The other thing that's real important is interview your new franchisee. Interview them. Find out about them. Find out what their day looks like, what their family looks like, what are their interests, and then set a business plan with them, how they can incorporate this in to what they're doing every day. That's real important because everybody's different. Some people work in a cubicle. Some people are out on the road, in their car most of the day with their job or whatever the case may be. So for me, interview that new person. So the tip is be there. You sponsor them. You need to live with them at least for the first 30, 60, 90, 120 days, and then be accessible after that. And the second thing is find out about them. Find out how this business model will work into their life, not your life, but their life, and then craft it around that. You do that, people will be successful.
Awesome. We have another question here that asks to know, what do you believe is the difference in the mindset needed to progress from a middle level in the business to the top level?
The mindset?
Yeah.
I think one thing that changed my life many years ago, and I got this from a friend of mine. He actually has passed away now, but he did a lot of personal mastery seminars and things like that. But the one thing that really kind of changed my life is when I got the attitude of what people think of me is none of my business. And that's something I've lived by for years. You can't worry about what people think of you. You have to be focused. And I think that's the difference between someone working their way maybe up to sales coordinator in our business versus someone that's working their way to national marketing director. It's a lot of things as far as having goals and being a good leader and having the skills and acquiring the skills and things like that. But I find the number one thing that holds people back is they worried about what other people think of them. Or if someone says no, they say, well, maybe I should have said this, or maybe I shouldn't have said that. And they beat themselves up over it. See, there's a lot of one-liners I could give you. Here's another one-liner. The people that you think will won't, and the people that you think won't will. You're never going to be able to prejudge who's going to, accept this product, Juice Plus. You're never going to know who's going to accept this business of the Juice Plus virtual franchise. So for me, it's just a matter of talking to people. But I think the real key to me from someone at the different levels, oops, still got me. We got a screen share there from somebody. But to me, the different level is working on yourself harder than you're working on the business. Become a better person, and you become the person that you want to attract. That's real important, because if you're acting a certain way, you're going to attract certain people. And another way it can be is you know better than the company you keep. So if you want to attract a certain type of person to your business and a group of people to your business, then you need to set the example and do that. Here's the bottom line to answering that question, Celine. Start acting like whatever it is you want to be. And if you will become it.
Totally.
The greatest, I guess, compliment, one of the greatest compliments I ever had in a business is I went somewhere as a sales coordinator, traveled out of state to go work with my team as a sales coordinator, and I did a talk. And the guy that introduced me was one of the top national marketing directors in our business. In fact, at the time, he was probably the second or third income earner under Jeff Roberti. And he introduced me that day as one of the top national marketing directors with our company. Now, I was a sales coordinator. I didn't give him a bio, but he just introduced me. See, the way I acted and the way I carried myself, he thought I was a national marketing director. So if you want to be a national marketing director, it's very simple. Start tomorrow, get up tomorrow morning acting like one, and everything you do what a national marketing director will do. And you know what's going to happen? In time, the company's going to recognize you with that title. So become now whatever it is you want to become later.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes, I was told many, many years ago, act as if. And if you just go to work each day acting as if, just like you said, it will come true. It's really like living out your vision board, or that as well.
Well, I joke sometimes, Celine. I would tell people, they say, "What position are you?" I said, "Well, I'm a national marketing director, but the company hasn't given me the title yet." That was my attitude. So you got to have that attitude, whoever asked that question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just to finish off with, we'll both have the same answer to this one. It says, I live in New Zealand. I'm asking this question. Is it best to be on the product to promote the business, or they can promote and sell it without being on it? Absolutely not. If you're not on the product, there's no way that you're ever going to have a belief in the product. And I don't care whether you're promoting the product or the business, it all goes hand in hand. At the end of the day, this is a vehicle that we use. And one of the very first beliefs we talk about is your belief in the product. And if you're not taking the product, there's no way that you can be an example or have a story to be able to share. Dany, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement. I often say you can't sell a Ferrari if you're driving a Lamborghini. You got to be a product of the product, and that's important. I don't know of anyone in our business that's ever had any success at all that wasn't a product of our product and didn't believe in our product. Yeah. They may for a little bit, but it's never worked out for them.
No, absolutely. And Hazel, no, it wasn't dumb questions. Good to ask if somebody's already asked you that. But again, really important, guys. I think, early on the piece I learned, you've got to be a product of the products, as you just said, Dany. It really is important, and continue to educate yourself until your belief is that rock solid 10. Ask the questions that need to be asked. The same with our business, the same with the industry, the same with self, working on those 4 beliefs. Dany Martin, thank you so much. You are just amazing. Oh my gosh, Ruth, you guys have just had an earthquake. Seriously? Okay, in New Zealand? Alrighty. Okay, hope you are all safe. But Dany, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you as always. You've got such a giving heart, and we can't wait to have you over this way again in August. For those who are lucky enough to have qualified for the National Marketing Directors School, very exciting. People are really pushing. This is the last month of qualification to get there. So if you're on track for it, push to the very, very end, guys. No, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to just put us all on gallery view so everybody can see and wave to Dany. And I'm going to unmute us all so that we can say thank you again.